Howdy, my name is Fitzpatrick Goff and I'm a senior drama major at SCPA and this is my senior project. You're gonna have to excuse the lighting. I don't know what's happening, but for some reason it just keeps getting like lighter and darker at will. So we're just going to have to deal with that. Those are just the things that go on in this little pocket dimension that I call my bedroom. Look, you're loved. The camera loves you, darling. You know, I did have a full script for this video. I really did. It was all typed up in Google Docs and everything, and it was pretty good. Except I forgot a very important factoid about myself. I am not a writer. I never have been. Just absolute trash at putting pen to paper. It's just really never been my thing. Yes, I was wearing my glasses underneath my sunglasses. Anyway, so yeah, just really never been a writer. For some reason, my writing just never really flows. I end up rambling, kind of like how I do in speech, but kind of worse because you're forced to behold it with your eyes. So I just kind of decided, you know, it would be better to do this thing unscripted, likes and uhs all included. Except not really, because I'm going to be cutting them out, so I don't look like a total clown. Anyway, you know, as someone who struggles with self-perception, somehow I got the amazing idea to do a review of self-portraits that I've made throughout my career at SCPA, and, well, a little further back because, well, you'll come to find out that, I haven't drawn myself very consistently and very well, for most of my life. So I decided for length's sake and for content's sake to maybe go a little further back so that we can have a little bit more to review than just maybe the, you know, 5 or 6 portraits that I've done in my high school year, because I started at SCPA my freshman year, so. And another small rule for this little portrait review, we'll call it, I'm only going to be reviewing portraits that I consider finished. And I say finished because I have a really strong tendency to not finish the things that I start, especially when it comes to, like, self-portraits. Like I said, self-perception. You know, I've always had sort of a consistency problem when it comes to finishing art, but, you know, it's like they say, you know, art is never finished and all that, but come on. There's a difference between, like a sketch and, like, something that I made with, like, oil paint. It's completely 2 different worlds. It's a whole galaxy. So, that being said, I'm looking for things that have more color, things that have more vibrancy, things that are going to both catch your eye and make me feel less terrible about the fact that I can never finish anything. So, that being said, I really hope you enjoy me talking for the next few minutes, and I want to thank you for letting me embarrass myself during this video, because you are going to see things that are both very personal that I've made and things that I also made in middle school. So, we're gonna have a bit of a time together, you know. I think we're gonna get to know each other a little better. You're going to get to know me a little better, even if it seems like you haven't learned anything at the end of this. You have peered into a deep part of my soul by looking upon these wretched things that I'm about to show you. So, without further ado, here's a self-portrait I made in 8th grade. Okay, first of all, what are those? No. Excuse my sort of inconsistency with, you know, the timestamps on these portraits, because I actually made most of these and posted them on a website that no longer exists, so my estimations might be a little bit off, but I know for a fact that I did make this in 8th grade, and yeah, just gonna go ahead and jump right into this. I really don't like this piece. Obviously, it really looks nothing like my art anymore, and I just want to I want to clarify something real quick. Not all of the art pieces that I have made are this low in like quality, and not just like art style quality, but like the actual image itself is extremely low quality. That's actually because I was initially pirating the digital art software that I was using to make art. So I couldn't actually save any of the art pieces that I had made using the software, so instead I just took out my phone camera and took pictures of my computer screen. Yeah, that's kind of why this drawing looks so gross. Well, onto the actual piece itself. I don't think that I ever looked like this in my life, except maybe a few years later in maybe junior year or something. But definitely not in 8th grade. It looks so blank to me. There's really not much going on here. So, you know, with the colors and everything, you can't really see any details of the actual colors because, like I said, I took a picture of this drawing on my computer, so everything looks pretty washed out. My hair's sort of red-brown color, which it was at the time, and it looks sort of black with red highlights, but, you know, initially I'm pretty sure I had colored it an accurate color, just not with the quality of the image. And I'm really, you know, loving the soft shading going on here. Ugh, it's really bad. I personally think that it's all uphill from here because this right here just makes me want to crawl into a hole and rot. So moving right along here. So this is a self-portrait that I made in freshman year. Good gravy. I'm really not fond of the colored line art going on here. I'm not really fond of anything in this image, honestly. I will give it this. It's definitely more accurate to the way that I looked at the time compared to the last one, and at least it's not a picture that I took with my phone camera of my computer screen. I actually ended up buying the software and stopped pirating it. Yeah, I went for a pretty simplistic color palette here, sort of some warmer peachy tones. As far as quality-wise, it's better. Personally, think it's easier to follow with your eyes. I think don't really like how simplistic it is. It really feels very bland to me. There is definitely some improvement going on here. The line art is less sketchy and it's more cartoonish. It's sort of making way for the way that my art would continue to grow throughout high school. Another thing I want to mention is at least there's a background in this one, even if it is just a simple circle. It's more solid than the last one. I have sort of a problem with white backgrounds in that I really hate to leave things white. I really don't like the color white in general. Like, when it comes to art, it makes everything feel so, like, unfinished to me. You'll see that later I stop using white entirely in my art because it just, I don't know, something about it, it just makes me feel like I forgot to color something in, you know? So the white scleras of the eyes and the highlights and the remnants of the white background, it really bothers me. I don't know, it makes me feel a little bit itchy. Yeah, I'm gonna move on here. I think this is late freshman year here, and yeah, there was definitely some solid improvement, I think, and this is one of the few full bodies that we're gonna get. I will say that is not what I look like, so you can kind of tell my perception of myself was getting a little bit wonky here, especially in my body and my face, especially my hair. So I will give credit where it's due, though. It's higher quality than the last two. The background is a little bit less of an eyesore. I genuinely don't look like this. I genuinely didn't look like this at the end of my freshman year. It is definitely making way for the way that I would begin to learn how to draw clothes folds, the way I would improve in drawing articles of clothing like shoes and pants and such. The hands are really bothering me too. They just look really, I wouldn't say stylized, I guess I'll say too simple for me. You know, I like to have my art like somewhere in between simple, easy to digest, but interesting enough that you find yourself always finding new details when you take a second look or when you look a little closer. This one is a stark contrast to that. I will say I'm really enjoying the darker line art here. That's kind of a staple of my future artwork. I really like the punch of dark or completely black line art. It really reminds me of video games, comics, which are kind of what I grew up on and what I take inspiration from. If I do take inspiration from media at all, it's from things that I consumed during my childhood, which were video games and comics, TV shows. I'm gonna go ahead and move on from this one. Here's one I made, I believe, early sophomore year. I'm definitely enjoying the different sizes and line art here. It's not much, but it's a step above the last one. There's a little bit more of, I would say, like my sort of expression, like less accurate to real life aspects and more stylistic or emotional choices here. It's less accurate to the way that I look and more accurate to the way that I feel. I will say I'm not fond of the soft shading. I'm just not. It looks okay. It's definitely better than the last couple, but yeah, I do like the colored shading though. It's definitely better than the black. I do like the bit of lighting at the top of the hair where it sort of gradients up into a lighter shade of indigo and then gets darker as we go back into the lime green of the circle. You know, it sort of adds like this sort of illusion of depth, even though there's not really any detail on the hair. It's stylistic. I keep saying that word, but I really don't have another word for it. You're starting to see the way my art style is developing into less of a simple, thick line art, more of an expressive, loose, ambiguous, interpretable. There's, you know, my pupilless eyes and sort of like goo-like tears, and I don't really know what I was going through this day, but whatever it is, it warranted a pretty emotional self-portrait. It's not like anything that I would make today, but it's sort of like a relic of emotion that I was going through. But you are seeing that in the whites of my eyes, I'm starting to use less white. Even the white t-shirt is a shade of softer pink, and you can still tell that it's meant to be a white t-shirt. It's just not stark, bright white that I really dislike. This one's okay. Moving along. This is actually one of the few, or maybe the only, traditional self-portraits that I've selected for this review. I chose this one because it's definitely, I guess, sort of like a gem among these ones. You can really start to see that I'm using ink for the sketch, and it's simple. I feel like it really gets the point across here. It's more emotional than accurate, and that's what I really like to do with my art, because I've tried doing photorealism before and I can do it. It's just not really my thing. I really like when art is more of like a physical like manifestation of like one's emotions rather than just like art. Like the pinnacle of art should be photorealism. You know, that's why I really like, I enjoy art, both more stylized like comics and video games, but also like classic Edo period Japanese ink artwork. It's sort of like one of the few inspirations that I get. So since this is a traditional piece, I will list what I used. I used Sakura Micron ink pens, and I used Copic markers. As for the way that I look, yes, I did have blue hair for a while. This is, once again, less to look like me, less to show what I'm feeling. So I've got stark black eyes, pink face that's kind of feverish with red blotchy skin. Not a lot of shading except for maybe on the clouds of the rainbow above my head, you know, around the face to show a little bit of depth and a little bit of sickness. I really enjoy the like darkness of the ink combined with like the really saturated tones of the markers. But other than that, This one is so simple that I can't really say that I particularly really like it, or it's definitely not something that I would show in a gallery to show off what I can do with my art, but I think it is showing some improvement and it's showing more of a grasp on reflection of self. This piece is really personal to me. I made this the summer of my sophomore year. You can actually buy this piece on my Redbubble. You can get it as a print or a sticker or, you know, whatever you want to put it on, maybe a tapestry or something. But yeah, I won't really go into what this piece is about because I really like hearing other people's interpretations of this. I will say that the title of it is Nightmares, and I will say that I was very far away from home when I made this. Far away for a good few weeks, and I was very sick, and I really missed my mom. I really missed my friends, all the stuff that was back home, and just, you know, despite how this looks, this is a self-portrait. There are some things going on here that are not me. There's different reflections of myself throughout the piece. Moving on here to my senior year, I actually don't have much to say about these pieces because they are so recent, and simultaneously I just want to hurry up and get to the end of this bit of commentary here. I made this one with oil pastels that I got for Valentine's Day, so yeah, this really wasn't long ago at all that I made this one. I made it once again less as a accurate portrayal of myself and more like a reflection of how I'm feeling, so I used some pretty sickly green tones and some pretty vibrant reds to get my point across here. I kind of made my face a little bit wonky on purpose, you know, made one of my eyes higher up than the other, kind of made my mouth a little further off to the side. This one, I don't really have a lot to say about it. I'll level with you here, I did kind of make this just to practice with my oil pastels, because I haven't used oil pastels since I was in middle school, and I was really excited to try them out, and so I made this one. That's all I gotta say about this one, actually. I've got a lot of smaller pieces to show. Like, I know I said that I was only going to show some finished stuff here, but I feel like I really didn't have a lot of finished stuff to show, especially not for my senior year. Senior year was such a struggle for me. It was a struggle for everyone, honestly, with, you know, COVID and going back to school and just so much happening, getting ready to graduate. It's been a ride. I'm just gonna quickly show some stuff on screen. So I actually did make a lot of self-portraits this year. This sketchbook is not the most put together sketchbook that I've ever made, but it's a lot for all that I've went through. So yeah, the rest of these that I'm showing here are all traditional, and I don't have much to say about them other than I really hope you like them. That's pretty much the end of this segment. I'm sorry that it went on a little bit longer than expected. Is time for my super special secret that I had lined up for the end of this video, and I really hope you enjoy it because I've been looking forward to this part much more than I've been looking forward to the rest of this project in general. So without further ado, here is future Fitz making a new self-portrait to reflect on how far I've come. So, here we are, several days and several hours later. You know, it's been quite a ride. Like I said, I feel like we've learned a lot about each other throughout this past little over 20 minutes or so, or I haven't cobbled the rest of this together yet, so we'll just see how long it turns out to be. Well, either way, this has been my senior project, and I really hope you enjoyed it. You know, a lot of work and time and love and effort went into this project. You know, it was really difficult, but you know, I guess all that matters at the end of the day is, you know, would I do it all again? Absolutely not. This was terrible. This is probably the most effort that I've ever put into anything ever. But I feel like it was the perfect send-off to, you know, my high school life, you know, being a senior. It feels almost surreal that I'm actually leaving. It feels almost surreal that some of these faces I'll never see again, or if I do, it'll be a long time from now. You know, it's simultaneously really liberating to know that in just a matter of months I could be somewhere completely different, and I could be someone completely different. But it's also terrifying, and it's sad, because I really had a lot of fun here. I am someone who's pretty moody, someone who's a bit of a pessimist, but there are some days that I came into SCPA really having a hard time. You know, my morning started off rough, and maybe home life wasn't always the best. I really couldn't stay upset when I was met with all the smiling faces of my classmates and my amazing teachers. You know, I've met some really incredible people. I've met my best friends here. I've met some people, some teachers who really inspired me and really pushed me to give my all, especially Miss Cleesaddle, some of my other academic teachers, Mr. Crowley. You guys have really pushed me to be my best. Someone who has a lot of trouble in seeing, you know, their own self-worth. So, in conclusion, this project was extremely challenging, and it took up a lot of time, and it took up most of my energy, but I think this was the best possible thing I could have done for myself. Just like SCPA. So, thank you. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm off to graduate.
Are the lyrics to my obituary? In iambic pentameter, follow perimeter, cross my eyes, dot my T's. I was delivered, holding scissors. I live deliberately. I'm a quitter and a winner anyway, 'cause I never agreed to participate in this game. Won't follow my dreams. No, they've all got me waking up screaming. I can let them go from me. After all, there's no I in team, and I'd rather